If you have a habit of rushing into relationships too soon, there's a deeper attachment mechanism at play that's trying to keep you safe in relationship. But it's actually holding you back from truly knowing yourself and having a strong sense of identity in relationship. In this video, I'll unpack the deeper attachment mechanisms at play if you keep rushing into relationships, and serial monogamists, I'm looking at you. And stick around till the end of the video because I'll show you the 4 steps to slow down so that you can make sure you're moving at a healthy pace. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Amy and I work with women who struggle with insecurity and anxiety in relationships to heal their self-worth so they can attract their ideal partner and have a beautiful, healthy, conscious relationship. And if you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button so you get notified because I post new lessons like this every week. Before we get started, I want to let you know that a few places have opened up on my calendar for the free strategy session for the Love by Design program. If you want to know how to apply for that, make sure you stick around till the end of the lesson. So let's look at the reasons why you rush into a relationship. Generally, the first main reason is that you can't be alone, or you just have a habit of never being alone. You've always gone from one relationship to the next, so it seems natural to you to keep seeking out a partner if you're not in one. You might also want to fit in with your family and friends around you. There's that unspoken expectation that you be in relationship. Or you might actually feel uncomfortable with being single and being on your own, which ties into your sense of identity. You know, we are truly wired for connection. It makes sense that we do seek that out. But if we don't spend a healthy amount of time being single, we don't get a chance to truly know ourselves outside of the container of relationship. Now, in the context of a healthy relationship, you can grow and know your identity if there's that amount of space and breath for you to have your alone time and develop in that way. But if you rush into a relationship, you might be rushing into an unhealthy one that doesn't allow you that space to grow and have your own sense of identity. Because you're always focusing on the problems of the relationship, or you're overly focused on the other person. Now, the deeper reason that you rush into a relationship too soon actually ties into this attachment perspective that you need to have safety. You know, you have this deep need for safety. Now, it's really important for me to point out here that rushing itself is actually a form of anxiety. And if you are rushing into a relationship, there's a part of you that is actually in fight or flight and you don't feel safe outside of what you deem to be a safe relationship. So we have a deeper primal need that's probably unconscious telling us that we need to be in relationship in order to feel safe. You know, I'm thinking of those primal programs in us that think there might be a tiger in the bushes that's about to eat us. And so we need to have a partner with us to protect us. Even though we're not consciously aware of it, that's what's actually inbuilt into our body and our brains. And the other thing that ties into this safety is our sense of self-worth. In order to feel that we fit in with society and fit in with people around us, which is no different than wanting to fit in with our family and our tribe on a primal need, so that we feel accepted. So you might be trying to be in relationship too soon from a superficial sense. You know, the relationship is a kind of a trophy and a proof that you are worthy of acceptance. Now, there's some real dangers in rushing in too soon. The first one is you can have a lack of discernment if you rush in too quickly. You don't get a chance to effectively assess if the person you're rushing into a relationship is actually a good fit for you. Are they a good choice? Are they compatible with you or not? And when you rush in and you're placing connection over identity, you're effectively overriding your sense of identity in order to be in relationship. And if it's not right for you, you're really losing out on your own chance to know your sense of identity in the context of a relationship. The second danger of rushing in too soon is a lack of self-reliance. We don't get a chance to effectively prove to ourselves that we can be self-reliant because we're so used to always being in a container where there is someone else that can, you know, do things for us and keep us safe. And a more extreme example might be where we rely too heavily on others for more significant support, like financial or physical or emotional support. And when we rely too much on someone else for those things that we need to be giving ourselves, we can really degrade our sense of self-trust and our sense of autonomy that we can be self-reliant. Now, I'm sure you could see that with a toxic or unhealthy partner that might take advantage of that you can very quickly spiral into a very, very unhealthy situation where you feel stuck because you're overly reliant on another person and they aren't a healthy choice for you. They're really taking advantage of you and you're feeling completely worn down. Now, the last danger of rushing in too soon is what I call empty relationship syndrome. And this is a lot more common, where you're in a relationship with someone that looks good on the outside, you guys look compatible, but only you know that on the inside there is a real lack of bond. There's a lack of connection and there's no trust. Behind closed doors, there's significant conflict and your needs aren't being met. And you might be maintaining appearances in order to look good for others or your family or society, but the relationship is not good for you. And a relationship like this forms because we have a lack of knowledge of self. When we don't know ourselves, we can go into a relationship that really doesn't meet our needs because we don't know what kind of partner can bring that to a relationship for us. We don't have that awareness of compatibility. Now, let me know in the comments below if you've been in a relationship like any of the ones I've described already, that you've rushed into and it hasn't been healthy for you. It's been a really, perhaps even toxic situation or unhealthy or empty situation. I'd love to hear from you. So how do we slow down? What are the steps in order to start slowing down and being able to have the discernment and to have that sense of self-reliance and safety? Well, there are 4 steps you need to take. And this goes for whether you're currently in a relationship that you've rushed into, or you're aware of your patterns of rushing into a relationship, you're currently dating and you want to make sure that you can do it at a healthy pace. The first step you need to do is to get to know how you feel and how you are on your own. So take time for yourself, either in relationship or dating, and spend time on your own and notice what your inner world feels like. What is that resting state? Do you feel in your resting state relatively safe on your own, or do you feel unsafe or unsettled, like you have to either constantly be doing something or constantly reaching out or being in connection with someone? And in addition to that, I want you to notice your inner dialogue. What is the voice inside of you constantly referring to? Is it always thinking about and noticing what other people are doing, or thinking about your partner, or thinking about your dating partners? And is it generally quite critical or sad? What is the flavor of your inner dialogue? Now, I want you to know that when we're on our own and we constantly think of someone else or we're constantly somewhere else, that's actually a form of disassociation. So we need to learn how to stop that habit of constantly leaving our body and our present experience and come back to where we are right now, kind of be back in the body, so that we can change our resting state to be more present. And the next steps are going to show you how to do that. So step 2 is to cultivate presence and embodiment. And that is effectively this process of noticing when our mental habits and patterns of thinking of others and thinking of other things and bringing it back to our present experience. Like I said, constantly thinking of others too much is a form of self-abandonment. It's actually a trauma response that we learn, and we often learn it in childhood when we need to escape from our current reality because our current reality just wasn't safe and wasn't settled for us. So practice noticing, either when you're in the relationship with your person or dating, when you're not actually present, when you're in fantasy or when you're thinking of others, and just notice it and bring it back. This is actually a type of meditation practice that you can do in day-to-day life, which is literally a way to embody your thoughts and what you're thinking of back into your present. This is the most basic practice for cultivating your sense of identity, because part of the reason why you might not have had identity up until now is because you've been so focused on others, so focused on that external sense of who you are, rather than getting to know your internal world and being present with all aspects of it. So step 3 is to really set an intention for this practice. So if you're in a current relationship that you've rushed into, set an intention to assess your level of self-identity and self-worth in the context of that relationship. Now, if you're considering whether that relationship is healthy or not for you in this context, I want you to watch this video next so that you can assess it effectively. I have a whole method to do that in that video. And just in your daily interactions, I want you to practice that presence and embodiment step so that you can really notice what your internal experience is like in that relationship. That's going to give you really effective data for you to collect to know whether that relationship is right for you or not. Now, if you're dating, on the other hand, and rushing into a relationship is a pattern for you, I want you to take a big step back and put yourself on the pedestal. You see, when we self-abandon in the dating scene, we tend to put others on the pedestal. We're idolizing them if there's a connection and chemistry there. So the problem with that is, again, it's a form of self-abandonment. So you need to practice dating from the idea that you are on the pedestal and you're working to get your own needs met first, and to make sure that the person that you're dating or the people you're choosing are compatible for you based on what you know about yourself. That's this discernment piece. And you also then need to be aware of when you self-abandon in dating. So there are lots of ways we tend to self-abandon in dating. Let's say, for instance, you're using apps and you tend to mindlessly scroll and have fantasies in your mind, and you're not really focused on the task of sorting, which is what dating is about. You're kind of using the dating apps to for your own superficial needs. Or you might just not even think about what you want and just kind of wing it out there in the apps or in real life, and just kind of see who likes you, and you never really think about whether you like that person or not. So there are ways that you can really self-abandon in dating, and you can end up rushing into a relationship with someone that you might not actually even like, because you haven't taken the time to identify what you want and what is right for you. So practice being present and embodied when dating, when doing any kind of aspect of sorting or of meeting people and effectively assessing compatibility. And like I said, in order to do that, putting yourself on a pedestal means that you listen to your inner world first and what is right for you first. And in order to do that, you need to have effective dating boundaries. And if you don't know how to set dating boundaries, or what even healthy dating boundaries look like, I want you to watch this video next. Now, the last step to slowing down so that you don't rush into a relationship that could potentially not be right for you is to create safety in your life. Now, we want to be aware of the primal programming that's going on, that's trying to get us in relationships so that we feel safe and we're not going to be eaten by the tiger in the bushes, because we can have someone that will save us or protect us. We want to consciously work against that programming that tends to happen subconsciously. So cultivate a safe, grounded home or space wherever you live, and make sure you feel that that truly represents you and your identity and what you love, and you feel comfortable and yourself there. And make sure you have a network of friends or family or both that you feel you can be yourself with. It's safe to be you. And activities or hobbies and things that you do that nourish you and really ground you in who you are and what you love to do. When you are in relationship or when you're dating, you're maintaining those aspects of your life that bring you safety and groundedness. You don't disown them, or you don't self-abandon those important things when you meet someone, because you need to continually cultivate self-safety and self-reliance when you go into relationship. And be consistent in how you show up for yourself too. I know that when you meet someone new, there's generally the first 6 weeks you can tend to get swept away in the chemicals of it all, and I understand that. But do make sure you come back to that kind of grounded sense of self and consistently show up for yourself as number one, whether you're dating or in a relationship. And having safety in this container of either dating or relationship means you've got to continually be vigilant about your self-talk and the flavor of your inner world. You know, if you go through phases, or you notice you're going down this hole of where you're constantly focused on what your new partner or your partner thinks of you, or you're constantly worried about what your family or friends think about them, or you've got this really significant critical self-talk that can come up, and that can come up during relationship, or there's shame talk where you are shaming yourself and making yourself less worthy than your new partner. You need to be really vigilant about that self-talk and turn it around. You want to rid yourself of that self-talk and nourish yourself and flood your inner world with positive talk around gratitude for yourself and having a healthy sense of self-respect in the container of being connected with another person. So in this video, I've shown you the attachment perspective around why you rush into relationships too quickly, and I've given you the steps to really slow down to a healthy pace. And if you want to know the 3-step process to go from insecure and anxious to secure internally so that you can create a secure relationship, I want you to join me in this free training on the proven 3 steps to a secure relationship, and you can join me there in the link below. I also have a free Facebook group and I'd love to see you in there. And if you did want to sign up for a free strategy session with me for the Love by Design program, you can find the link to my calendar in the description below. Please comment below if you have any questions about the lesson today, if you've been in the situation where you rushed into a relationship and one of the points that I brought up might be helpful to you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can keep seeing more content like this. And in the meantime, here are some next step videos to help you move one step closer to an incredible relationship with yourself and the partner you deserve. And for now, I'll see you in the next video.